This is my hair 10 hours after styling it with the new Dyson Airwrap ID, and I'm going to be sharing with you how to get a long-lasting style with the Dyson Airwrap. Now, I have seen many people on the internet say that they can't get a long-lasting style with the Airwrap. They say that the hair drops out over time. Also, there are some people struggling using the new version of the Airwrap with the Bluetooth connectivity to the MyDyson app. So I decided it's time to show you a foolproof way to use it. And yes, I have not restyled my hair. I have purposely tried to pull out the wave throughout the day. I've been out going to the gym, walking the dog, working, just so you can see it can be done. I'm gonna be sharing a full wet to dry demo using the Airwrap ID with its new curl function on the MyDyson app. But this tutorial is going to be also great for any Airwrap holder because there are going to be some valuable tips throughout this video. I'm Skylar McDonald, professional hairdresser and trichologist, and I have a wealth of knowledge on how to make hair stay for the whole day. It has been my job for years and years to make that task happen, whether it be a bride, a shoot, a catwalk, a TV show, high stakes situation. It has been my job to figure out how to make hair stay in place throughout the day, and I'm going to be sharing that knowledge with you today. First of all, a disclaimer, this is just my opinion, my thoughts. I have paid for the Airwrap myself, and any products that I use are just ones that I like. This is totally unsponsored. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm going to be talking through the tutorial while rolling back the tape of the demo, because this just makes sense. This way I can talk over the sound of the Airwrap plus add some interesting points as well. I wanted to start this tutorial by showing you what my hair actually looks like when it just air dries. I know some of you just see my hair styled, so this is just my natural texture after air drying. It's quite straight and it has a slight touch of wave. My hair is probably defined as fine with a normal amount of density. My hair is also such a good barometer to see if a style can hold because it doesn't hold style easily. I do actually have to work at it. I mean, it doesn't completely fall out, but there has to be some effort to make my style stay. After shampoo, conditioning, and detangling my hair, I'm ready to get the show on the road and put some styling products in. So applying styling products beforehand are just a must. I know this doesn't come as a huge surprise to most people, but this is a major secret when making a style stay. Some people don't enjoy the feeling of product in their hair, and I am with you on that. But while I get this point of view, and I don't always love the feeling of product in my hair, especially the ones that make my hair hold or that are not really that touchable, I'm telling you now, it's about finding the right product for your hair type. Multiple products are needed to make hair stay into place, no matter the hair type. That is just the way that it is. But if you don't want to do that, you just want to have, product-free hair, at least apply a heat protectant product. And yes, it is totally worth it. Heat protecting products can reduce damage from around 20 to 50%. There's actual research behind that. I have a whole video on why you should be using heat protectant products. It is a minimum, really a non-negotiable that you should use. And you should always try and apply your heat protectant product first before any other product so you can get the full advantage of that protection. I decided to use the incredible blow dry cream from Kerastase. I'm not gonna pronounce it in the French version, but that's just the way it is. This cream is great for fine hair. It helps with styling memory, and it has some great heat protecting properties. That's mainly due to the film formers, silicones, and conditioning agents that this product has in it. I then apply the Kerastase Densomorphos mousse. This isn't a Kerastase ad, I just genuinely love this mousse. You do not see this mousse enough. People do not rave about it, and it is a crime because this product on fine hair is just the best. It's lightweight. So for anyone that hates the feeling of crunchy, heavy mousses, this is not that. Apply it to the roots and filter it to the ends. And then I add a little bit of extra heat protection with Heat Slayer from Elvive. I use this product throughout the blow dry, and you are gonna see why, but this product is very water-based, so it's easy to spritz throughout the hair when it's starting to dry too much. I do keep products to a minimum I usually don't use loads of them, so if I don't need it, it doesn't go in. But as long as you get conditioning, essentially lubrication on the hair, some type of hold product to help the style kind of stay in place, and you apply it right, this is a good starting point for getting any hair to hold all day. Okay, we're all set and I'm good to go for the styling. I'm going to start by drying my hair at the root. Now, Dyson advised to curl your hair on 80% dry hair, and while this is true, most of the time when we rough dry our hair, our ends end up drying and our roots end up being quite wet. This is because our hair is generally more porous on our ends and we lose water quickly on our ends than our roots. So ideally, you want to dry your roots a little more than your ends when we are curling with the Airwrap, because as you are working your way through your hair, drying with the Airwrap, you are going to notice your ends drying significantly faster. I'm drying my roots with the fast drying head attachment, but you can also use the flyway smoother attachment to rough dry. This attachment can be quite good, especially if you have roots that continuously go fluffy and you want more of a directional airflow. I will have to say, when you curl with the Airwrap, it can leave your hair just a little bit fluffy, especially at the roots, because the hair tends to kind of blow up the hair shaft. So it's worth trying to avoid this from the start. And this is the perfect base for curling. The roots are fairly dry, probably about 90% dry, and the ends have some moisture. I just found this to be the perfect base after lots of testing with the Airwrap, like multiple times. I'm gonna style my hair from a center parting, and I will be working in large sections, curling my hair in something that looks roughly like 2 inches by 2 inches squares. This is an ideal section size for my density of hair. If my hair was longer or thicker, I would be taking smaller sections, because if my sections are too thick, the heat will not penetrate the hair properly once it's on the barrel of the Airwrap, essentially not drying or not heating the hair properly. I'm gonna be working with the new function of the Airwrap, which is the ID curl cycle that you get on the Airwrap ID. If you're unfamiliar with the Airwrap ID curl cycle, this cycle is where the Airwrap takes you through a wrapping time, a styling time, and a cooling time based on your hair needs to help you create the perfect curl. You do not need to fumble with any switches or anything like that, and you can adjust the timings pretty easily on the app. This cycle is recommended to you after filling out Dyson's profile questions on the app. The one thing I'll mention here is that you most definitely will need to have to adjust the recommended cycle that Dyson gives you. The profile questions are great, but I just found the timings generally wrong, and I will explain that later. So my ID curl cycle settings were 7 seconds to wrap, 8 seconds to style, and 22 seconds to cool. This specifically were timings that I found to work with my hair using this technique. And these are the settings that I would use really only for wet to dry styling, and I would change them if I was curling my hair from dry on the Airwrap, but to be honest, if I was curling my hair dry, I would probably just reach for a tong, and I will explain that later as well. In the style that I'm doing today, I will be waving the hair away from the face, and this can be adjusted with the arrow at the tip of the Airwrap. Now to start curling, I'm holding the section and guiding the hair around the barrel, rather than just letting the Airwrap catch the ends, which you see loads when people are doing tutorials on the Airwrap. My main objective with this is to style my roots and mid-lengths first before my ends, because this is where I hold most of the water in my hair, and that is so important. Starting to dry the middle of your hair before your ends is going to be ideal for the condition. The wrapping time and the styling time are both hot cycles, so that's 7 seconds plus 8 seconds equals 15 seconds under heat. And I know my ends will not need as much heat as my mid-lengths. This is the case for most people, so I only allow my ends to wrap around the barrel when the Airwrap gets to the styling cycle. This just helps my ends getting too much heat, and I also find that this technique dries the hair perfectly and I get a good curl from it. I'm going to be working from the bottom up in horizontal sections. My last sections will be at the top of the head. As I'm working my way up, my ends are gonna dry, and ideally you want to have some moisture consistently throughout the hair. So I'm gonna be using the Elvive Heat Slayer spray slightly on the ends just to rehydrate some of the drier areas of my hair. I'm not looking to douse the hair with this spray. In fact, I don't want to do that. I just want the ends to have some moisture. You can use a water spray as well. This works equally as well. This will ensure that the hair is drying at the same rate and you're not overheating or over drying one area more than the other. And usually I comb through the hair before using the Airwrap. If I think it needs it, your hair should really be detangled before heat styling for best results anyway. Okay, one of the things that I have to say about the Airwrap, and I hope I can explain this well, is that Dyson say the Airwrap doesn't exceed over 150 Celsius. But to be honest, if you've seen my review on the Airwrap ID, I have never found it has ever reached this temperature. The highest temperature that I found was around 122 Celsius, and that was at the base of the Airwrap, which is at the bottom. Now, my thermal camera could be slightly off, but I did measure a GHD, and that came up as the right temperature for a good comparison, so I think the thermal camera is correct. This is another reason why I advise to leave your ends out at the beginning of styling, as this is the hottest part of the tool. For a comparison, a hairdryer might have a temperature of 100, maybe 160 Celsius, and a tong or straightener might have 185 Celsius for dry styling. This can be a lot of heat, and over time can damage your hair with frequency. Any frequency of heat is damaging to the hair, but it's all about the heat and the time under that heat that causes the damage, and also if that heat is direct. So if you think about it, 122 Celsius is much lower in perspective, but it is direct heat. And what I mean by that is that your hair is still over the tool. A hairdryer is consistently moving, so this heat kind of dissipates as you move. The point I'm making here is that if the Airwrap is able to achieve this style at such a low temperature, it will be great for the condition of your hair, especially if you have an Airwrap ID and you manage to get the perfect cycle for you with just the right amount of time and heat in the settings. But if this isn't enough heat and/or the hair isn't fully drying, the style can drop out quickly, and I think that's where we find a problem. So if this is happening, you may need to extend your time under heat under the Airwrap, or you want to check that your hair is fully drying when you move the Airwrap away. I would argue that even though your hair is getting rid of water and heating up, having the Airwrap on your hair for longer than 30 seconds under direct heat, not including the cooling cycle, in total may be worse than a few seconds under a hair tong at 185 Celsius. I say might because this does depend on the general condition and strength of your hair. Okay, I hope I explained that well, but if you felt like I did explain it well and it genuinely helped you, please smash that like button and subscribe. But if you felt like I didn't, comments below. I'd love to hear your questions about it. Okay, back to the hair. I'm continuing to work up the head using the same section size, waving away from the face, changing the direction at the tip of the Airwrap when I need to change sides. I'm also tilting the bottom of the Airwrap away from the head. This will help with the sections that are already done on the underneath. Sometimes when you're using this tool, it can catch on some of the hair that you've already done, and this is super annoying. So if you want to refrain from that happening, try and keep the Airwrap away from the already done sections by tilting the bottom of the tool away. As I'm moving through the blow dry, there will be times you don't get the hair exactly all the way on the barrel and it just catches the mid-lengths. This happens really with longer hair types. So sometimes after I curl my mid-lengths, I do a separate cycle. It tends to be much shorter for catching the rest of my hair, basically on the ends that I've missed out. I find that I still have to use some of the heat protection spray on my ends as I work my way up. It takes me around 30 minutes from wet to dry to curl my hair with the Airwrap, so my ends are always going to start to dry, especially on my top sections. Another tip specifically for Airwrap ID holders: if I find I did not wrap the hair fast enough around the barrel, or I find that the hair has just unnecessarily started to heat too much, I can move on to the next cycle by switching up the ID curl cycle button. and that will move the Airwrap on to the next cycle, so you don't have to sit there and wait for the time to just count down. You can just move on, and that can really help the condition of your hair. One of the keys to using the Airwrap successfully is to heat up the hair and cool it down and let it set. That is a key to styling any hair, but this can be done with a cool shot button, turning the heat down, or if you have an Airwrap ID, the cool cycle will do this for you. It helps set the hair into shape after heating. It is essential to let hair properly cool after heating it. I think this is overlooked so much when styling hair at home. With the Airwrap, your hair should be cool to the touch before you remove the barrel. That is actually how cool it should be. It also takes time. If you have an Airwrap ID, to fully start a cool cycle, I found the Airwrap actually started to blast cool air 5 seconds into that cycle, so you really need to factor that in, and that is why my cool cycle is at 22 seconds. Once the Airwrap has completed all of its cycles, I ease the tool away from the hair, and what you should see is the hair retaining its shape really well. If the curl is not retaining its shape, this isn't a good sign, and you need to relook at the factors that I have advised, but basically what you should be seeing when you move the Airwrap away is a nice defined curl that is not immediately dropping out. Now, I will admit, in the demo, my sections did start to get a little bit larger at the top of the head, but I did put special emphasis on the curl at the front of my face, using the same technique as the other sections. Once all the sections are complete, you want to try and not touch your hair if possible. If you have some extra time for your hair to fully cool, that is ideal. It's always helpful to let the hair set even more. After the curls are complete, I spray the hair with a light, and this is really important, brushable hairspray. This hairspray I'm using is the Sam McKnight Modern Hairspray. I like this hairspray because it's light, it's fairly brushable. You can feel it, but it is light and it does have a little bit of hold and grip. It's also really buildable, so it's an ideal product for spraying hair before you brush it out. All these things really help to make sure your hairstyle holds. It's not just one thing that makes the hair hold into place. A lot of the time, it's succinct things that you do well and consistently that make the style successful staying in place. To break up the curls, I'm using my favorite oil. There's just not a better oil. Come at me with that, but my favorite oil is Shermer Essence Absolute. This is an amazing oil. You can use it on wet hair, dry hair. It's fabulous for all hair types. And it's really lightweight. I have not found a better oil right now, and that is fact. I've tried hundreds, but if you have any recommendations that you would love me to look at, please leave in the comments. Prove me wrong. I want to know the products that you are using on your hair, hold products, hairsprays. I'm so interested in what's working for different hair types, and it just helps everyone get exposed to different products. And this is the final look. I still think it looks good after 10 hours. I have actually had to reapply my makeup to do this video. My hair is day proof with this. Of course, you're gonna get some dropout, especially with the Airwrap. If your hair is really thick and really long, it can be more difficult to achieve results with the Airwrap compared to a tong, but this isn't bad, and if you're looking to limit heat damage, it isn't a bad option. Sometimes I add a little bit of texture spray to the ends of my blow dry, and this just makes hair look larger, and I am loving the dry volume texture spray from Living Proof. This spray for fine hair is just the best.
Where is it?
It's here. Sometimes I'm using a little bit of texture spray to make my hair look bigger at the end of a blow dry, and this just makes my hair look fatter, and I am loving the dry volume texture spray from Living Proof. It's just the best. It's so lightweight, and I'm not promoting products. I just love it. It's pretty much almost empty. That's how much I love it. And if you're interested in learning more about texture sprays, what they do for your hair, which ones are right for you, you can check out this video that I made explaining all of that. I think texture sprays are so confusing, so I am demystifying everything you need to know, how they work, are they damaging, and how to use them. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Dyson Airwrap ID, and I will see you in the next video.